Okay, so this is going to be the install of my version 3 table. This one's basically got a floating shelf design where the top shelf is not going to be attached to the table. So first step we need to do is to remove the glove box. And to do so, you remove the 4 screws here. The glove box will drop down. You're going to end up having to take out the actual insert as well. So to do that, there's a couple screws on the bottom and 3 screws up here on the top, and this whole thing will come out. And the reason why you got to do that is because the glove box door has these latches that are there, and they're hinged behind it, so you got to get that off to physically pull the door all the way out. So once you get that out, you can put the glove box back in, but you're going to want to leave this one and this one, the 2 outer ones on the top, screws out, because you're going to be ending up replacing those and throwing in some brackets to support the upper shelf. But that's step 1, is remove the glove box. Take the insert all the way out because you have to get the pieces out. And then you can re-secure the insert and just put the middle screw in on the top, because the top 2 outer screws will be used for the floating shelf. Okay, so once you got your insert back in, the next step is going to be to install these 2 brackets on the outer screws. I'll provide the screw and some washers, and as you can see, it doesn't go straight. So the bracket, once you get it in, you screw it in, you tighten it up. Just keep your screwdriver pressed on here for force, and then you can bend this down and get it to where you believe it looks pretty flat. And it might take a couple tries, because then you're going to place the shelf on top of it. And then once you get the shelf on top of it, then we'll put the screws in through the bottom, and then it will be locked up. Then if you ever had to remove it, which you should never have to unless you're fully taking it out, you could just literally remove these 2 screws and the shelf will pop out. Okay, once you have your brackets installed, then you can put the shelf on. So the shelf's going to be very, very tight to fit in there, because I have the trim all the way around it to get in there, and you're really going to have to push it in to get in there. And it's going to, like, pretty much almost want to sit there by itself without the brackets. So it'll be nice, snug, tight fit. And then you, once you get that pushed in there, you want to take the 2 screws that I provided with the washers. Make sure you use the washer, and then screw it in. Press down on top of the board, screw it in. If you don't use the washer, the screw could pop through the top because it's screws the length of the board. So do that, and then she's in there. I mean, it's secure, it's not going nowhere, it's solid. So now you have the shelf. It's basically like a floating design. You'll still have access to the switch if you want to close it, everything else underneath it. So that's basically step 2. Secure the shelf, and like I said, pushing the shelf into the pieces, it's snug. I got it cut with the trim that it's going to be in there nice and snug. So I did this one in a carbon fiber wrap 5D design. Switching mine over too. Okay, so once the shelf is installed and you're happy with how it's leveled, next you're going to throw the bottom brackets in. So they'll already be bent in an L shape. You can use one of the original screws that you took out of the door to install them. And you just want to get them bent so it looks pretty flat with the shelf of the glove box. And you may need to adjust it up or down depending on how you feel it's leveled or angled. You know, the vehicle itself, so this side of the glove box is actually a taller side than this side. So when I was putting the shelves on, it kind of looked cattywampus angle. But when you put it in, it was right. And then it's the way that the dash angles up towards the middle. So that's kind of why I wanted to start going to this floating design, which, because for me, cutting these pieces every time, getting them right, and everybody's cars are a little bit different, it made it hard. So this here, I'm eliminating all that cutting, and honestly, I think it looks better once it's all in. But get your L brackets that I give you and bend them up, angle them how you like it so it looks nice and flat, and secure it. If you really wanted to, you can go get another 4-inch L bracket, cut it off, put another one there if you felt like you needed extra security. But I've been driving around like this for a year and never any issues, and I drive with the big sake bottles whenever I do photo shoots, so not a problem at all. All right, so once you got those brackets in, then you can slide the shelf in, get it in there so it's nice and snug, and then you'll use screw and washer I provide and just screw it in. Again, make sure you use the washer, because if you don't, screws are long enough that it could poke through the top. So now this thing's solid, right? It's not moving anywhere. I also will provide you, if you look in there, there's a square block that I put in the back, and that prevents it from tilting up if you had weight in the front. So it makes it solid. Like I said, I've driven this configuration for a year now. Never had any problems. So that's basically the new setup installed there. So I got the floating shelf, which I think is a pretty cool design. And I even got the island now. It's kind of like floating. It actually uses the cup holder thing. So it's set up to where there's a hole in the bottom that you can hook up. It's also like a drain hole too. But you can hook up LEDs in there. I did find some that actually have LEDs already in them, but I've only seen blue and green as colors, so I do plan on running some lighting on mine. But that's it. That's the setup. And this is just to give you an idea of what your setup could look like. So I got 2 large sake bottles, 2 sake shot glasses, a Junction Produce, air freshener. So you could drive around like this if you wanted. She'll hold the weight. And let me go around the other side so you can see. So there's your setup.